is take three. Take three. This is what it's like when you're on the road in Canada. Okay, so everybody that's been on here, we're trying to get you going on. We had Felicia and the doctor were writing comments, and if you can just tag people in again, we're going to continue this. And this is like a commercial break, because this is like the biggest craziness ever. So honey, give a recap of what we're talking about.
I don't even know where we were there.
It doesn't matter, because it's all been deleted because the silly internet is not working.
Right.
So.
Well, okay. So anyways, I think we were talking about obviously finding your Boaz and writing things down. And I think Felicia and the doctor were saying on there that they had recently just stepped out to try again.
And had their hearts broken.
Had their hearts broken, yes. And
which sucks.
It does. There's no doubt about it. And I think that that's one of the things about love that is so fascinating. And God does this all the time. God opened himself up for the greatest love, which would be you and I coming to him. But yet he also opened himself up to the greatest disappointment in the fact that people would totally reject him. But yet he still continued to move forward because he recognized and understood the value and the ultimate goal in having a relationship with us. So I think it's important that, you know, I know that there have been a couple of girls that were on there and they said that they've been hurt. You know what? Sometimes that does happen. When you open yourself up and you open up your heart and you walk that path, there is the potential to get hurt. There's no doubt about it. And I think that if you solely look at that, then you will do yourself a disservice to where God actually wants you to go and who he wants you to have. Because don't just push everybody away because you had a bad experience.
That's true.
You know, and I think that that's important. I mean, look at what you went through in the online dating thing, right?
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
You know, like
it was so crazy.
Yeah, but you went out on a couple of dates, though, too.
Yeah, I did. But it wasn't good.
Well, exactly. And if you had just said, you know what, that's it, that's all, I'm not doing anything else, I'm just going to stay single.
Thanks for joining, Matt. Take three. Take three in Canada.
But again, like if you just had that mentality, you might miss out on the blessing that God actually has.
That's true. If I would have given up. Because I know some people were on here last week and, you know, like basically just wanted to give up, right? Because I know when your heart gets broke or you go through, like the girls on here, that they've been lied to, you know, it's hard to trust again. I mean, I know I was a little bit, you know, apprehensive. You chased me for 1.5 years because I think I was like, oh, is this too good to be true? Like, I wanted to see him through every season of life, all year, every occasion, just to make sure. It's really hard. Online dating was rough for me. Crazy, crazy things, the doctor said. Yes. I can imagine. And you know what? This is so, for the people that are our age, it's not something we're used to growing up with in dating in this capacity, in this kind of style. So it's very different, very unique, and yeah.
But in the first video, before it got deleted and canceled, one of the things that I did say was, if I could give the best advice possible, is that God knows exactly who you need and when you need them.
That's true.
And so it really is a walk of faith. And so at the end of the day, the best advice that we can possibly give is that just give your all to the Lord and let him work out all the details.
That's true. It's when we get meddling and things kind of get messed up when we try to take control of things.
Well, we want to force everything.
Yeah. And that's why it's good to have your list too, because then you don't divert from the list. Because if you don't have the list, you'll learn that you settle for things that you probably would have never settled for. And you can talk yourself into, you know, maybe dating somebody that you never would have before. But because they're right in front of you and, you know, it's like, oh, well, nothing else has come along. So you kind of make up all these excuses. And then the next thing you know, you're down the road and it's like, what am I doing? Like, what has happened here? Oh my goodness, we have another slow connection. So we're praying the data works in Jesus' name.
But at the end of the day, though, one of the other things that I think is really important, I mean, you're writing down all the things that you want, obviously.
Okay, we're back. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Online dating things was rough for me and crazy things.
So one of the things that we can absolutely say when it comes to this is that when you're writing out your list, though you might want to write out all the things you want, I think it's important that you write out all the things that you don't want.
And that's what I did, because you need to have a visual reminder sometimes when that person comes like knocking on the door and it's like, no, you're on the no list because you have this and this. Like, don't compromise.
Yeah, like I think that's probably far more important is when you understand what you do not want to step back into, because I say this in all honesty, we fall back into the same patterns and we get connected to people that we get comfortable with, but yet that comfortability is also part and parcel of the thing that they've got something in there that we did not want in any way, shape, or form. So
Doctor says, I was excited at the potential in the last round, but also use discernment. And we do have to use discernment, especially nowadays.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people that can lie about a lot of stuff, and it's hard to find it's harder to find authentic people.
Yes.
But you have to use wisdom. And, our hormones are not the same at this age, but, sometimes you can lose your mind getting excited about meeting someone, and sometimes that can cloud your voice of reason, and it can make you thinking and acting like a teenager again, even though you're a mature adult that have been through a lot in life. But it's like you're going back to a different season of it's just like, oh my goodness. So I think you just have to use wisdom, and it is disappointing and it is hard, and like the doctor said, you need to use discernment, and try not to jump in with both feet right away. So how many times have we take your time, and
it's easier said than done when you're not in the moment and in the heat of things. We get it.
Right. But learn to have joy in the journey, and test them out. See if they're going to be interested in the things that are really important to you, or the things that you love to do. Or one of the things that, like with Stephen and I, and we laughed the first night we met, because we're quirky, okay? We're different, we're unique, and we're kind of both old-fashioned souls in our own way. So God merging us together has been pretty hilarious, and just some of the things and our lifestyle choices, like neither one of us had TV, neither one of us watched TV. We liked old-fashioned music, we liked to sing, obviously Jesus was something really important to us. So, obviously being sold out for the Lord and having a relationship with Him was number one. And that was actually the number one thing on my list, because I knew if I found somebody that was sold out for Jesus, then everything else would become easier, right? So that is, I'm just trying to think. Oh, we got Grace. Anyway, welcome. Oh, hey, Aaron, welcome. Matt. Nope. Just want to execute my mission I believe God wants from me. Well, you know what? And Myrna says, no list. No is a complete sentence. Woo! Yes, Myrna, go! No is a complete sentence. And you know what? Matt, you know what? That's sometimes some of us, it's no thanks. I'm going to stay on my mission. This is where God has me. I need to keep the blinders on, and, sometimes somebody can come in and hijack that. So good for you. You're not being hijacked, and you're not putting up with that nonsense. And if something happens at the right moment in time that God has, then bonus. But until then, you're all on your own. And And that's
You know,
okay.
and we said that before. You know, that's perfectly fine. If you don't want to step into a relationship, then absolutely don't do that.
That's right. That's right.
You know, for me personally, that was not something that I wanted to stay single on. Like, I
Matt, you're unusual for a guy because, like, lots of guys don't want to be alone. They want to have somebody in their life. I'm trying to get the comments here. How did you meet each other? Okay, Tracy. Well, let's tell them how we met, honey.
You know what? It was very, very simple.
It was very simple. And it was in the right location at the right time because God had us, right?
Right, because you had talked about before about you're not going to find your diamonds in the trash can. Most times you're not going to. I know that it does happen, but most times you're not going to.
Yeah, you have to put yourself in the right location so that you're going to be with the right people. Yeah. And that can make a big difference. Aaron said he went on a coffee date yesterday and it went really well. Praise the Lord. Aaron, like, woohoo! Awesome.
Like,
okay,
when you're stepping out and meeting people, it is a scary thing because you're becoming vulnerable to a certain degree. And that's always one of the challenges when it comes to dating. And
trust, loyalty, integrity, and Jesus matter most to me. Those are good points, Grace. Good points. Good. And, you know, writing it down, the yes and no less really helped me. So, and in a nutshell, how I met Steven was, I was a single mom of a special needs child. Everybody knows Madison that watches us. And I was really, I'm like, okay, God, I believe in miracles. So if you can find me a man, then that will be a bona fide miracle because obviously I'm a cancer survivor. God healed me of cancer and I have a story in my book. And, you know, some of you have read that, my testimony, but also, you know what? I was a single mom of a special needs child. And it's like, okay, who's going to sign up for this realistically? So true, being vulnerable, but if God is in it, there is no deficit. That's true, Aaron, so true. So that being said, an opportunity come up to go to a concert with my cousin, and I wasn't going to go. I was going to stay back. I wasn't going to go. And then it's just like something inside of me, like, should you date someone you're not physically attracted to? Jake says, this is a commercial break. Jake says, should you date someone you're not physically attracted to? Well, I know how I would answer that, but I want to know how my husband would answer that as a man. Go ahead, honey. I don't have a microphone, but take the floor.
That to me would be probably a no. And the reason why I say that is because as a man, you're going to have a certain drive to you. And so if your drive is not really going to be fulfilled by your spouse, you will have a propensity to wander, and you don't want to go in that direction. You know, if you're with somebody, you want to be sold out to that person. So I mean, that's really, really challenging. I guess the question would be, why do you want to date somebody that you're not physically attracted to?
That was on my list. I had to be physically attracted to them.
Yeah.
Hey, cousin Andrew Murray. I see that you're on. I can't see a comment, but I see you're here. So welcome. Yeah. So that would just be our opinion. But that was something on my list. You know, I met all these guys online dating and they couldn't even tuck their shirt into their pants. Right, but they wanted to date a superstar. So anyway, I feel you will be attracted spiritually, physically, mentally, always. Yeah, they have to meet all the markers, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, and again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder too, right?
Beauty is all in the eyes of the beholder.
You know, so you can be very attracted to somebody that might not necessarily have the physical features right away.
But they are going to have a creative miracle? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that. No. What I'm saying is the fact that, maybe they're way over and above on their personality or the way that they treat you or the way they say things. And, because
Andy's laughing.
Because, well, I mean, what can happen is you can become very attracted to that person, right? I know, not that I want to talk too much about it, but my ex-wife was a very heavy lady, and it didn't mean that I loved her any less, but that also is not something that I want Connie to go into by any stretch of the means, right? Like that's just not what I wanted. But in that moment, you know, it was she was always kind of a heavy girl, and I fell in love with her in that state. Again, that was something that took a long time. Like, we dated a long time before we got married, and that was something that grew. So it just depends on how long do you want to put into, you know, that relationship.
I agree, Aaron.
You know, so.
And Andy is waiting for a woman that's head over heels in love with Crocs. And they'll be there because there's somebody for everyone, right?
I'm sure that there are lots of ladies out there in love with Crocs.
It matters how you see the person in your heart, too. That is so true.
Yes,
so true.
It does.
Yeah, so there's lots of factors in there. But, of course, that's just our opinion, and we only know our story. And, you know, it's hard. Basically, it's hard to start over. You know, so my husband has a story of how his marriage dissolved. I have a story I touched on last week. Thanks. Jake says thanks for honest answers. And, you know, my story was different. Although, you know, we both biblically had reasons for divorce, and that doesn't really matter getting into. But my ex was addicted to pornography that ended up just getting out of control, which on the live last week ended up being something that kind of just blew up. Like, I couldn't believe how many people were actually saying, oh my goodness, my marriage dissolved, same thing happened, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, it's a really different world that we're living in than 20 or 30 years ago. You know, when you're older and you're looking for somebody to date, you know, it's not the same as when I was a teenager. I mean, I was born and raised on the farm, and I lived in my little country bubble, and I liked it. I was okay with that. So it's just a whole big new world out here when you get into dating at this age.
On the flip side of that pornography side, from the male perspective, it will actually open up your mind to having adulterous engagements and things of that nature. Like, you'll start to ponder that more and more, and whenever you start to meditate on something, you will go in that direction, right? So it's really important, and I know lots of people don't really talk about that.
No one actually talks about it. The church doesn't talk about it. Nobody talks about it.
I know. So when it comes to pornography, it will not only cause you to feel shame, but it will cause you to meditate on a direction that you were never intended to go, that you never ever thought that you would go down. And it's really important that you recognize that it does have the ability to destroy a marriage, not just simply from the overall perspective of how you're going to look at your spouse or what now you want her to do or don't do type of thing, right?
And for the women that have gone through that, it's a very difficult thing, you know, because I'm actually going to Dallas to speak at a conference, breakthrough conference, and that's kind of one of the things on my list is, you know, living through that is very difficult. You try to, you know, be better and always like look better, be prettier, cook the best, have the best house, make more money, have a better job, like, because you're thinking that all these things are going to matter and you're going to have breakthrough with this, you know, problematic thing. You have to get a card, don't you, honey? Yes.
Essentially, yeah.
Yes. So it's really hard especially for the women that have been out there and they have gone through something like this. You know, it's a real struggle for to be confident when you have lived through something like that. It's very traumatic, and yes, it has lust after too many women, and I couldn't take it in a relationship. I hated thinking who was the man bowing on his mind. Yeah, that's the doctor saying that. Yes, Pastor Stephen Myrna says. So that being said, quickly in a nutshell, how we met was unexpected. I went to a concert. I stayed overnight in a different city an hour away, the city that we're actually in for the birthday party right now. That's why we're in the truck, why we went live so many times, because the data in the country in Canada is a little bit crazy. It's not reliable, as you can see. So I ended up going to this concert with my cousin, and then I stayed overnight, and so I'm going to surprise my cousin. My cousin is a worship leader, and her husband's a pastor at a church, so I thought I'm going to surprise them and show up at the church to congratulate her because she had just wrote and recorded a CD. So at a concert, a few details, please. Okay, I'm giving you the details here, Tracy. So we're getting there. I could do a whole live on this. Actually, we've done it before, but maybe we should do it again. So anyway, I decided I was going to treat myself. I had not been on a vacation in probably 5 years. So as a single mom, Madison was away for the weekend. So I thought, I was always on the weekend that I could catch up, and she wasn't there. It was like there was always so many jobs, right? You got laundry, you got just cleaning the house, you got getting your groceries. I was a landlord to tenants, and so it's just a very, very busy lifestyle. I was working full time, so there was all this stuff, and then you got yard work and blah 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 blah, right? It's a lot on your plate. So I was always justifying that porn is terrible, sucks the life out of you. You're right, Andy, you're right. And
you know what?
What?
The restaurant we're going to is where we went first night we were dating.
Really?
The first night we met, yeah.
Really? There we go.
It's no longer a Buffalo
It's definitely
Wings.
as my daughter's soon-to-be husband watched every day besides her. Oh, that's so sad. I'm so sorry, Denisha. It sucks. So back to how we met, and Steven's going to pop out here and get a card, so it's going to just be me for a minute telling you how we met, and then he'll come back. Because we're just flying by the seat of our pants today, folks.
Sorry,
So that's okay. So I went to see my cousin who had recorded this worship album, and I thought I'm going to surprise her at church because she's leading worship, and I'll surprise her and bless her, and then I'll go home. And so that's what I did. And because I took a wrong turn and I was on the phone with my mom, I went by her ex-husband. Okay, I remember you saying that last week, Denisha. Felicia said it was such a downer. Oh, you know what? It is such a downer and I think that's why Stephen pursued me for 1.5 years, because I had to be sure beyond a shadow of a doubt that, he was who he said he is. I didn't want to be fooled. I didn't want to be deceived. I wanted to have wisdom, right? And as a mom of a special needs child, I thought I can't have any more drama in my life. I got to protect Maddie at all costs. God chose me to be her mom, and that's a really important thing for me to be in her life. And I take that serious. So I had gone to my cousin's church, and I just caught the last 10 minutes of the first service, and they had 2 services. So I was like, okay, well, I have to stay for the second service because I'm late, and I'm like way more than late. I'm like extremely late. I almost missed the whole thing. So I decided, okay, I'll stay for the second service. I didn't have anything on. And so she was excited to see me and met me in the foyer, and we were chatting, and as quick as anything, of course, for however many years I had my list, prayed over my list, believed that if God had somebody for me, he would have that happen, and he would be the one that would align that, because I thought I can't waste any more time. The online dating thing was not for me. 2,500 guys I connected with and messaged that, most of the, I think but 3 lied who they were, what they did for a living, if they were even a Christian, all this stuff, right? Because everybody wants the Christian women that are serious about the Lord because they think they're going to be a good catch, and then they just lie about who they are. It drives me crazy, and it's not very much fun. Yeah, I waited for over 14 years. Oh, Felicia, I lost your message here. Let me see what you said. I waited for over 14 years, and I've been divorced for 32. Oh, wow. You know what? Don't give up. Don't give up. God still can do something miraculous. And I mean, I'm living proof. So that day at my cousin's church, she was in the foyer, and she literally grabbed me by the face, and she said, Connie, I'm just praying that you meet the most Holy Ghost filled, God-fearing man. You're just the most amazing woman, and you just deserve to meet the most amazing man. And then, oh, sorry, I got something in my eye. She said, as she's got a hold of my face, and we're in the foyer of the church, and she's got my cheeks like this, and she's grabbing my face saying, you know, pray that you meet the most Holy Ghost filled man. And then she, all of a sudden, she says, oh my goodness, don't turn around now. He's right behind you. And I'm like, what do you mean he's right behind me? So I turn and I look and I see Stephen. I see just a glimpse of Stephen. And oh my goodness, it was like the things that were on my list. So here he is. He's in this 3-piece off-white linen suit. It was September. And he had aviator glasses on. I could smell him across the room because he had just come in. So, and that was one of the things. He has to wear nice smelling cologne. He has to care about his appearance, you know, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things I prayed about, and this is so funny, because this is why I think it's like funny to be specific, but God has a sense of humor. Because all of these guys that had the beer bellies that couldn't tuck the shirt in their pants that I was meeting online, but they wanted the supermodel to date, I was like, Lord, they have to be able to tuck their shirt in their pants and wear a belt with matching shoes. It was really important to me that they could wear a belt and they could get their shirt tucked in their pants. And I know that sounds crazy, but I was specific because it was driving me nuts that these guys were just out there wanting the supermodels, and they didn't care how they dressed or, you know, took care of themselves at all. And that can say a lot about a person, how they take care of themselves, right? You don't need over the top. Like, I know I'm over the top. I'm a lot. And that's okay, because when God healed me of cancer, I learned to celebrate life every day and dress up and go for it, right? And that's just how he created me. So when I turned around and saw Stephen, it was like all of these things were going off in my mind. It was just like, cha, 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 cha. I thought, oh my goodness, I'm nervous. Here I am at my age. It's just like, this is just totally awkward, right? And I thought, isn't it just like God that this is happening in a church foyer? And I was just like, wow, this is interesting. So I am, hey honey, did you find the card? Yes, you did. So I'm thinking, okay, we're meeting all the markers here. And the biggest thing I noticed was he had a matching belt on with matching shoes, because I had prayed specifically for that. And I was pretty excited because he had this like linen suit on that was gorgeous. And then he had this tie on that I'd never seen anything like it. It was like funky knotted on the top, and then it was different on the bottom. I'd never seen it. It was totally unique. And the way he had it tied, I'm like, I don't even know how he found out how to do that, but I'm totally impressed because I've never seen one other person in real life have that. So I thought, okay, he got my attention. And of course, his aviator glasses, he was, you know, clean shaven, check, nice, neat and tidy haircut. But then the kicker was he had this little flower on the lapel of his suit, which I was like, oh my goodness gracious, I can't even believe this, because anybody that knows me, I wear these fascinators every day. And I was like, okay, God, I'm paying attention. This is interesting, because I've never seen anybody wear that on their suit unless they're going to a wedding or something. But it was just this little like fabric, what is this place called? Is this where we're going to eat?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so I was impressed and I was paying attention. So that being said, we met after the second service. My cousin introduced me, and the rest is kind of history. Because yeah, we don't have time to tell you all that today, but it was amazing. And, you know, he pursued me for probably a year and a half. I was a hard catch. If you can imagine now being the pastor of Limitless Church and planning a church and all the stuff, I was afraid that he didn't love Jesus as much as me. Because I am a whole lot. I am very exuberant, very happy, very joyful. Stephen is like this. He's the same all the time. And, you know, because he didn't get excited about things like I did, I thought that maybe he just didn't love Jesus that much. Were you going to say something, honey?
No.
Or are you just laughing at me? Just laughing at me. So that's kind of how it all went down. But we'll have to do a live sometime together and tell more details about that. Because, you know, there was lots of things that happened, but God was good. And you know what? I often think if I would have missed going away and treating myself, because I felt guilty. Like, I'm not gonna lie, as a single mom, I felt guilty doing that and spending the money and staying overnight. And then, you know, what if I didn't do that? And then what if I decided not to go bless and surprise my cousin that had, you know, recorded her CD and congratulate her? You know, I just think I would have missed the opportunity of meeting him. Right?
See, but again, therein lies one of the things that I think people get all caught up with, is they're trying to go and find their person.
Yes.
Right? And that's their main focus, as opposed to
just living life.
Yeah, just go do what God
I always say
wants you to do.
find joy in the journey. So, you know, I was thinking of my cousin, right? In that moment, I did not for 1 second think I was going to meet my future husband. I was thinking of going and blessing my cousin and being there to encourage her, because she's such a blessing to so many other people. And never for 1 minute did I think that, oh, I'm going to meet somebody that I'm going to date and potentially marry at church in the foyer. Never thought of that at all. So anyway, we're at 5 to 5. Our party is in 5 minutes, and this has not gone at all how we expected.
Sorry,
so
everybody.
Thanks for joining our commercial break. We didn't even really get to the points that we really wanted to talk about. But just remember, if
We'll do a fireside chat or something.
Yeah, we'll do a fireside chat sometime. But just remember to, you know, be the person you want to attract, and, you know, look for them in the right places. Don't go dumpster diving for the diamonds and think you're going to find divine connection. Yes, it was, Tracy. It was a divine connection. I'm doing my life and notice my surroundings. Oh, you are doing amazing, Doctor. Denisha says, have a great evening. Priscilla says, beautiful. Thank you for your time, guys. Love you. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Grace, Alita, Tracy, Doctor, all you guys. Thanks for showing up, and we love you all. And we're going to go enjoy a birthday party now. But thanks for joining us. Sorry about, what did we do? 3 takes?
Yes,
Yeah, 3 takes. 3 takes. So sorry about that. But we finally got live and we finally got to chat. And it's been a slice. So y'all have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later. Love y'all.
Bye now.
Bye.